Hey everyone, it's your old mate Shano here. Thanks for stopping by to check out the video. This is not one of my usual happy-go-lucky, this is what we did on the weekend type videos because we had a little bit of a nasty experience this morning. Today, Saturday, Atsuko and I were planning to go out and do a few chores, and we decided to take Emma for a walk before we did that. And so I stayed at home to do a few things, and Atsuko, Mrs. B, took Emma out for 15 minutes is what we were planning. About halfway through that period, my phone rang, and it was Atsuko's number. Picked it up, and all I could hear was this frantic breathing and crying on the phone. And I had no idea what had happened, of course, but I was worried immediately. So I walked from the back of our house around towards our front door, and standing in the entranceway of our house on the outside of the door, the screen door, was Emma, all alone with no harness, no collar, just standing there panting frantically with a panic look in her eyes as if to say, something's happened. And I'm like immediately freaking out myself. So trying not to panic her, I opened the door slowly and pulled her into the house and closed the screen door, and then went out onto the footpath in front of our house to try and work out what the heck was going on and where Mrs. B was. I tried calling Mrs. B again. Her phone picked up, and just as it did, looking straight down our street, I could see her coming towards me, and clearly in distress. So she makes it to the house. She's got blood all down, running down her two of her fingers, and her knees are all cut up. And I'm like, what on earth has happened? And what had happened is that as she was in a block or so away from here, a Great Dane off leash ran out of one of the properties, knocked Atsuko over, knocked her to the ground, and then leapt on top of Emma, who screamed and freaked out and somehow, in her panic, backed out, Houdini'd her way out of her harness, and then she bolted, and poor Mrs. B is left there with no help from the stupid owners of this Great Dane, covered in blood, watching Emma disappear down the street. So somehow, miraculously, we're very, very pleased that Emma somehow worked out or knew where to come. Somehow she came directly to the house here. I was expecting to, you hear these horror stories of dogs running off and having to scour the streets for them, but somehow, miraculously, our little pup ran straight home, and thank goodness she did, because literally we could probably still be searching the streets for her now. So we brought her inside, and we noticed straight away that there's blood on the tiles in the entranceway of the house. And so that's when we started having a bit of a closer look at her, and we discovered, as you can see here, she had a few marks all over her. You can see on her nose here, there is a chunk taken out of her nose there. Her paw was messed up as well, her back left. You can see her nails there are all scratched and frayed from her panicked sprint down the road. And we were a little worried because there was an awful lot of blood. It looked like she had split a pad or split her toe or something like that. So we decided to take her to the vet just to be on the safe side. If she's got a bite on her face, these things can get infected very easily, especially that the blood coming from between her toes. We thought it needs to get checked out. So we rang, this was about 11:15, rang our local vet. Thankfully, they had an appointment at 12 o'clock, so half an hour, 45 minutes away from when we called them. So we booked that, loaded Emma in the car, and headed off to the vet. And they were so good with her. Big shout out to the Altona Veterinary Clinic for helping us out. As you can see in the picture here, she had the nose cut started swelling pretty severely. You can see her nose is all out of shape there. But the vet was so good with her, took her inside, was really kind and caring, looked her over, felt all over, found another couple of spots where she had some cuts. She had an abrasion underneath her arm, probably from trying to get out of the harness, and she had a little cut on one of her other toe pads as well. But she was really good with her. She took her out the back, and what they did is they shaved a little bit of her nose so that they could clean up the wound. You can see there's a couple of little marks there. And also they put some glue on her toe, so where the split was, rather than bandaging it up or whatever they do, they just put some super glue on it basically to hold it together. So she's okay right now. She is here at home resting. She is going to be on some antibiotics for a few days. But thankfully she and Atsuko are both okay. It could have been a lot worse. So yeah, that's been our day today. Very grateful for a number of things. One, that Emma somehow managed to work out where our house was and came straight back here. And then also that things were, apart from a few little grazes and gashes, things could have been a lot worse, and thankfully they weren't. So overall, not a great thing, but could have been a lot worse. So we're all happy that things have worked out in this way, and hoping we don't have to go through something like this ever again. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.